The robbers rig explosives to every safety deposit box, expecting a haul of a few million. Instead, they are stunned to discover each locker crammed with cash, far beyond the anticipated 3 million. The total windfall soars to over 40 million. With no time to deliberate, the crew shoves bundles into their bags and slips out into the night. Once on the street, one member, Bobby, begins to panic. Unknown to most of the crew, he is an undercover officer. His original plan was to arrest the team immediately after the takedown. To his disbelief, the streets are eerily empty, and the getaway proceeds flawlessly, the group vanishing with far more money than they ever imagined. During the drive, Bobby repeatedly glances behind for his backup, a nervousness that does not go unnoticed by his partner Stig. Suspicion mounts. The men pull over on the outskirts, tension spiking. Just as Bobby reaches for his gun to reveal his true role, Stig acts first. Shooting him, Stig finds Bobby's badge clutched in his hand, and without hesitation, he abandons the wounded man and races off with the 40 million. How did everything spiral into this chaos? The film rewinds a week. Bobby and Stig had visited Papi Greco, a Mexican drug lord. Bobby tried to trade 500 forged passports for $100,000 worth of narcotics. The deal fell apart when Greco reneged, and a trusted lieutenant, Little Toro, who was also a friend of Bobby, was executed for the betrayal. After that killing, Greco became paranoid and turned away new business. Forced to improvise, Bobby let Greco keep the passports, promising to settle with drugs later. Outside Greco's compound, men amused themselves with brutal games and target practice on chickens, a grim display of violence. Stig, who had only been friends with Bobby for 10 months, proved lethal and precise with a firearm. Their bond grew quickly, even as Bobby tended to talk too much. On the drive back from the ranch, Bobby disclosed Toro's death and floated a plan for revenge. Stig suggested hitting a Texas bank that Greco used for laundering, an institution that received roughly $3 million in cash every fortnight. Confident, Stig believed they could pull it off. Crossing back into the United States, the pair were detained and questioned about their trip to Mexico. Authorities suspected drug purchases from Greco, but Bobby kept quiet without counsel while Stig played the fool, even flirting with a DEA agent named Deb to deflect attention. Ultimately, the agents released them, but Bobby was left alone with a man named Jessup, and the truth came out. Bobby was not simply a criminal. He was an undercover DEA operative. The arrest earlier that day had been staged. Bobby's mission was to secure Greco's shipment as evidence to bring down the kingpin, but the plan had unraveled. That evening, Bobby and Deb met in secret. They were lovers. Bobby explained Toro's murder and pitched a daring plan. If they robbed the bank where Greco stored unreported funds, the paper trail could lead straight back to the drug lord for tax evasion and money laundering. Deb and her team would be poised to move once the heist occurred. The scheme was approved, and the next morning, Bobby recruited Stig for the robbery. On the day of the heist, they watched Greco hand a suitcase to one of his men and tailed that courier to his destination. Stig slipped into a nearby restaurant while Bobby went to the bank to rent a safe deposit box, part of the reconnaissance. Reunited, they discussed the bank's vulnerability, confident it would be an easy mark. When several police officers began arriving, Stig casually excused himself to trigger the fire alarm in the restaurant, prompting an evacuation and creating a diversion. Before leaving, he tossed a lighter onto the stove, igniting a blaze. Later, in a surprising reveal, Stig met with Lieutenant Colonel Harold Quint. It turned out Stig was an undercover Navy SEAL focused on Greco and allied cartel operations, working with Quint. The implication? Unbeknownst to Bobby, both men were pushing toward the same objective from different angles. Quint explained that siphoning the bank's $3 million would fund coordinated strikes against Greco and other cartels, turning the robbery into a sanctioned sting. On the afternoon of the job, they first neutralized the local police by overpowering officers at the precinct, locking them in cells to prevent an immediate pursuit. With law enforcement briefly contained, they stormed the bank wearing masks and weapons, instructing everyone to comply as they moved to complete the operation. The assembly was methodical and calm, each step intended to minimize chaos while securing the cash that would expose Greco. Stig forcefully takes the vault keys from the bank manager and sets explosives to blow it open. They both expected to find only a few boxes of cash, but to their shock, every single box is stuffed with money. Stig orders Bobby to take as much as they can. Bobby quickly helps push the cash out of the bank and briefly speaks with the security guard, telling him to ensure no customers get caught in any potential gunfire. Bobby then hands over the keys so the police can be released, expecting to find Deb and her team outside. However, to his surprise, the street is completely empty, meaning they can load all the cash and escape without resistance. Once they are far from town, Stig stops the car in the desert. Both men begin estimating how much money they've stolen, realizing this amount cannot possibly belong to Papi Greco alone. Suddenly, Stig draws his gun on Bobby, who is about to do the same. Instead, Stig shoots Bobby in the arm, only to freeze when he sees Bobby's DA badge. Shocked and angry at Bobby's deception, Stig grabs all the cash and abandons him in the desert. Meanwhile, federal investigator Earl arrives at the bank. He refuses to believe the manager couldn't have stopped the robbery. Outside, he notices the burned-down restaurant and is convinced the fire is no coincidence. After counting the stolen money, Earl becomes suspicious of something far bigger at play. At the same time, Stig reports to his superior, Harold, claiming he now has over $43 million and requests a team to transfer the cash. But when Harold learns Stig didn't kill Bobby, he panics, fearing the robbery will be traced back to them. He immediately sends his men to locate Bobby's body. When Stig arrives at the meeting point, he realizes Harold and his associates plan to eliminate him to keep the $43 million for themselves. Surrounded by 5 armed soldiers, Stig fights back, overpowering them and stealing one of their vehicles to escape. On the other side of the desert, Bobby manages to hijack a passing car and drives to his friend Kenny, a veterinarian, seeking help to remove the bullet. When Kenny refuses, saying he isn't qualified for gunshot wounds, Bobby threatens to seize the clinic's vehicle and implicate him in a drug case, revealing he is a DEA agent. Later that night, Bobby follows Deb to a hotel and confronts her in the elevator, demanding to know why she never showed up at the bank. She insists she was on time and questions if the heist began earlier than planned. Bobby reveals Stig shot him and asks her to run another background check on him, suspecting he isn't just a simple thief. Bobby then heads to Stig's apartment. As Bobby tries to break in, Stig watches him from a rooftop through a sniper scope. They speak over the phone, both men now unsure of each other's true identities. Neither trusts the other anymore. Suddenly, Stig spots Harold's assassination team approaching. He orders Bobby to hang up and hide, guiding him from afar through different escape routes. Bobby narrowly evades the assassins, but during the chaos, he is forced to take action on his own and shoot back, trying to survive. Meanwhile, Earl tracks Bobby to Kenny's clinic. Unwilling to leave without answers, Earl shoots Kenny in the knee for refusing information. Earl then moves on to Bobby's superior, Jessup, holding him at gunpoint. Bobby, having barely escaped, arrives at Jessup's house hoping to learn who they really robbed. Deb informs Bobby she found nothing suspicious on Stig, and Bobby tells her to keep digging. But when Bobby enters the house, he finds Jessup already held hostage. Before he can intervene, Earl executes Jessup. Earl taunts Bobby, demanding to know how he learned about the robbery. Bobby plays dumb, pretending not to know anything about the money. When asked who he really is, Bobby refuses to answer and accuses Earl of corruption. Earl avoids leaving any fingerprints, kills Jessup using Bobby's own gun, and threatens that if Bobby doesn't return the money, the murder will be pinned on him. Desperate for answers, Bobby tracks down Papi Greco the next day and demands to know whose money they actually stole. Before he can get answers, Stig arrives and throws Bobby into the trunk of his car to get him out of danger. The two argue while driving through the desert, but eventually crash. A fight breaks out between them, releasing all their pent-up rage until they finally calm down and reintroduce themselves honestly. They decide to work together again. In an abandoned garage, they interrogate Papi Greco about the money. That's when the truth is revealed. None of the stolen money belonged to Greco. It all belongs to the CIA. The agency has been laundering drug money through the bank, using Greco's cartel in exchange for transporting cocaine across the border. The $43 million is CIA black budget money from illegal operations. Earl has been sent to recover it and eliminate anyone involved, already proven by his execution of Jessup. Before Bobby and Stig can press Greco for more answers, Deb suddenly arrives, revealing they've unknowingly been interrogating Greco inside her own home. Stig is stunned that someone like Deb was ever involved with Bobby, but there's no time to argue. Navy operatives storm in, opening fire. In the chaos, Greco escapes, and the trio flees in Deb's car. The pursuit continues when Greco steals another vehicle and rallies his men. During the chase, Bobby begins to suspect that Harold tracked them through Deb, believing she may have betrayed him. Their car is ambushed, and both men are captured. Under pressure, Stig admits the stolen money is hidden at Corpus Christi Naval Air Station. Greco, planning to outsmart Earl, gives Bobby and Stig 24 hours to retrieve it, threatening Deb's life if they fail. After crossing the border, they steal a car and prepare for an armed infiltration. They storm the naval base, and Stig diverts the chaos while Bobby confronts Harold in his office. Bobby discovers Deb and Harold had secretly planned to keep the money. Realizing Deb now holds it, he escapes by sparking an explosion and slipping away in a stolen uniform. Outside, he spots Stig being taken off the base. Meanwhile, Greco learns Deb fooled everyone and that the money isn't at the base. He taunts Bobby over the phone, claiming there's no time left to save her. Accepting her fate, Deb slips her symbolic ring onto her thumb before she's killed. Heartbroken, Bobby returns home and finds her body, recognizing the signal. He follows the clue to their secret motel, where he finally discovers the hidden cash. Bobby contacts Earl, setting up a deal. The next morning, Stig arrives at Greco's ranch to seek help against Harold, but Harold ambushes him, revealing a secret arrangement. Stig must kill everyone there to earn a share. Harold then proposes teaming up with Greco to eliminate Stig. But Stig warns Greco he'll eventually be betrayed regardless. Earl arrives demanding the money, exposing Stig's bluff. Just then, Bobby appears with the cash and hands over the keys, securing freedom for both himself and Stig. As Earl prepares to leave with the fortune, Bobby detonates the vehicle, triggering a massive firefight. Together, Bobby and Stig unleash a full assault, eliminating Greco's men. They battle through the ranch, taking down Earl's operatives and Harold's forces. Stig shoots down the CIA helicopter pilot, and the final standoff occurs in the barn. Earl proposes a truce, revealing the CIA hides similar funds in other banks, implying this loss means nothing. They appear to agree, until Bobby suddenly shoots Harold and Stig kills Earl. They track down and finish Greco shortly after. But as they walk away, Bobby, still bitter over being betrayed, shoots Stig in the leg as payback. Despite it all, the partners survive and set their sights on another hidden stash, Bobby hinting with a grin that he kept a secret cut of the money for himself. Like and subscribe for more recaps like this.